Dinner at my wife's parents' house had always felt like a small performance. Everyone had roles. Her father presided at the end of the table with quiet authority. Her mother filled silence with stories that didn't need answers. My wife, Anna, tried to keep everything smooth. And her younger sister, Leah, moved through the evening with a kind of restless energy that always made the room feel slightly unbalanced. I was used to it. That night looked like every other one at first. Plates passed around. Small complaints about work. Someone laughing too loudly at something that wasn't very funny. Then Lee put her fork down. The sound was soft, but the way everyone looked up at once made it feel louder. "I need to say something," she said. Her voice wasn't dramatic, just tight. Her mother asked what was wrong. Her father leaned back slightly. Anna turned toward her sister with the automatic concern she always had for her. Lee looked directly at me. "I'm pregnant." For a moment the room shifted into that strange quiet that follows unexpected news. No one reacted right away. Her mother's hand moved toward her chest. Then Lee said the second part. "And it's his." She pointed across the table. At me. The silence that followed was heavier than the one before it. I remember waiting for someone to laugh, or ask what she meant, or say there had to be a mistake. Instead her father slowly turned his head toward me. "What is she talking about?" I felt like I had stepped into the wrong conversation halfway through. "I don't know," I said. Lee shook her head, already crying. "Don't lie," she said quietly. That was when the room changed. Questions came, but they weren't really questions. They were statements disguised as them. How long had it been happening? When did it start? Had Anna known? I kept answering the same way. No. Nothing else made sense to say. Anna didn't yell. That was the worst part. She just stared at me like she was trying to see something she had missed. "You're saying she's lying?" she asked. "I'm saying it never happened." Leah started crying harder. Her mother wrapped an arm around her. Her father stood up slowly from his chair, the kind of slow movement people make when they're holding anger down. "You should leave," he said. I looked at Anna. She wasn't looking at me anymore. By the time I got home that night, she was already packing. Not throwing things. Not crying. Just folding clothes into a suitcase with quiet precision. "You don't even want to ask me anything," I said. She stopped for a second, but didn't look up. "I asked you. And you believed her." She zipped the suitcase closed. "I don't know what to believe." Then she left. The next 2 weeks felt strangely quiet. Not dramatic, just empty. Anna stopped answering my calls. Her parents didn't respond to messages. A few extended relatives sent short texts that felt less like questions and more like judgments. Leah's version of the story traveled quickly. Apparently it had been an affair. Apparently it had been going on for months. Apparently I had begged her to keep it secret. The details kept growing. I thought about defending myself publicly, but every version of that conversation sounded worse the longer I imagined it. So mostly I stayed quiet. 2 weeks after the dinner my phone rang while I was at work. The number was unfamiliar. "Hello, is this Mr. Harris?" a woman asked. "Wes, this is St. Matthew's Hospital. We need you to come in today if possible." My stomach dropped. "Why?" There was a pause. "The doctor would prefer to discuss it in person," she said. "And we need you to come alone." The word alone stayed in my head the entire drive there. I kept trying to guess what it meant. A legal situation. Some kind of formal confirmation. Maybe paperwork about the pregnancy. A nurse met me in the lobby and walked me down a quiet hallway. The doctor's office was small and bright, the kind of room designed to feel neutral. He introduced himself, then folded his hands on the desk. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I know this is an unusual situation." I waited. "Your sister-in-law was admitted earlier today due to complications," he said. "During evaluation we had to run several standard tests." He opened a file. One of those tests involved confirming paternity. I felt my shoulders tighten. "And?" I asked. The doctor looked at me calmly. "You are not the father." The sentence landed differently than I expected. It didn't feel explosive. Just final. He continued explaining that the biological father had been identified through the same testing. Someone Leah had apparently named only after the results came back. The hospital had to clarify the information with the family because it affected medical consent and treatment decisions. "In situations like this," he said carefully, We sometimes need to notify individuals who were previously identified. I nodded slowly. Down the hall, voices were rising. Not shouting exactly, but loud enough to hear the shape of confusion. The doctor glanced toward the door. Her parents are here, he said. Your wife arrived a little while ago. A nurse stepped in and spoke quietly to him. He stood. They're ready. I followed him into the hallway. Anna was sitting in a chair outside Leah's room. Her father stood against the wall. Her mother was holding a tissue in both hands like she had forgotten what it was for. The doctor explained the results again. Calmly. Precisely. No emotion in the language. Just facts. No one looked at me while he spoke. When he finished, the hallway went completely silent. Leah's father sat down slowly in the chair beside Anna. Her mother stared at the floor. Anna finally looked up. Not angry. Not relieved. Just exhausted. Can we talk? She said quietly. We moved to the waiting area at the end of the hall. For a while neither of us spoke. I believed her. She said eventually. I know. She looked at her hands. I didn't even give you a chance. I thought about the dinner table, about the way the room had decided what was true before I had finished my first sentence. You believed what made sense to you, I said. She nodded slowly, but the guilt was still there. Everything collapsed so fast, she said. I looked back toward the hallway where her family still sat. It didn't collapse, I said. It showed what was already there. She didn't answer that. When I left the hospital later that afternoon, no one stopped me. No one apologized. The truth had arrived, but it hadn't repaired anything. It had just changed who had to carry the silence.